My third guy plays some games.
All right. Hi, everybody. Weather Guy here, and we are back with some more great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It's time for a cross examination. Hope you're doing great. Where we're going to find out supposedly what actually happened whenever these Skulkin Brothers encountered Mr. Windibank in the front of the shop.
Hold it!
Let's start pressing. When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windibank? Oh well, sorry, that's right. We was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. But we never thought no one was going to come out of the back room like that. Back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom? Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Which means Ginny must have been in there at that point as well. That doesn't make sense, does it? Gina had threatened Mr. Windibank into the storeroom with him at gunpoint. Then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Oh, I don't know. Did you see the accused at that time? What, that Molotov? I couldn't tell you. No way, Cobb. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. Yep, let's press that. You mentioned that Mr. Windibank shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claim that you heard him yelling them at the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Oh, well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Windibank wielding a gun at the time? Wrong voice. Was the victim Mr. Windibank wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever? Blimey, limey. Great ugly barrel-headed. Point straight at me frontispiece. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windibank with a gun at that time, is that right? Dude, this is crazy. How did Mr. Windibank die? You know, because he had the gun. How did he get the gun? How did he get it back from Gina? Because we saw the photo of her pointing the weapon at him. So how did she get it back? Or how did he get it back? And why? Was she knocked out maybe at this time already? That seems likely, like somehow she got knocked out whenever this all happened, and that's how he retrieved the weapon. It is, Gov, it is. Spot on. Then all of a sudden he came at us, he did. It was bedlam. I didn't know who was going for who. You were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, we all thought we'd had it. I mean, strong as an ox, chucked you over the counter. Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too. Well, yeah, of course we did. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette, what knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them scales on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter? Well, Big Bruv here went flying over that counter like a gunshot, I can tell you. Then the old geezer pinned him. He did, Nash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a bloomin' pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right. When the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Poor Mr. Windibank, he did everything he could to protect his shop. I love that emote he does where he's linking it in with his face like da 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 da.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windibank? No, never. I was just, looking out for me bruv, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then The man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shot me away, then ran off through that door and shot himself in. There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Windibank ran away into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him, with a gun. Ah, yes, that's right. Jenna allegedly used Mr. Windibank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Windibank's hands again? I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it? So inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, the point is, me and Bruv here. That's right, Nash, that's right, me and me Bruv here. We never had nothing to do with killing him, that's all what happened, I swear. You say you had nothing to do with it? Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer went and shot himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was, from the inside. We know it was because we tried to open it. Ah, so they would have seen the open window too. But it's a decent door, that one good and strong wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. Ah. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, Consul? I don't know. Is there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank? There could have been. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. It did. What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Windibank? It is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect of two conundrums. Two, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe? Indeed, namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Bruno? I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. I believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. Right here, right outside the door.
Take that!
Defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question. Right on the other side.
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windibank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Oh, someone's at the front door. Who is this? Nobody. Someone just walking down the sidewalk. Sorry. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulkin Brothers' earlier testimony... If Mr. Windibank ran away through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time. Ugh! It was at precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Yeah. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. Bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. Yeah, so the shorter one shot him. Yeah. Shot by someone shorter. Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have an... Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windibank.
Objection!
Sorry. I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. You also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? But what if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. Who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? I think it's the little one. I think he could have fit through the hole.
Take that!
Obviously, that person could only have been... Just a moment, Runo. What? Just about to point dramatically at the prosecution and unveil an amazing revelation. Sorry, but just before you do, maybe you should take a deep breath and think things through one more time. Storeroom door is locked from the inside, so whoever locked it must have been inside too, don't you think? Ah, like Mr. Windibank, you mean? Well, yes, except that he was dead. But Gina... Okay. So, it had to have been, they're saying it's Gina, but how does she end up knocked out? That's not clear. Oh, I get screwed over anyway? Great. There's a time limit? Now then, let me... Yeah.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. Oh, I know. I know this one. She was locking the door not because of anything with Mr. Windibank. She was protecting an item in the storeroom, so they couldn't get inside. I am inclined to disagree, I must say. Well, counsel. Yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please. But of course, Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does? Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh, yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windibank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windibank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windibank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? Ah, I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windibank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it. In order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. We gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we'd never shoot no one.
Objection!
That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, your brothers had every opportunity, you brothers, to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windibank's murder. Yeah, la 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 la. Fantastic. That's what we like to see. Yeah. But I know the prosecution is about to say a groundbreaking thing right here. He's going to interrupt with it. That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know, first time ever. Probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict if not. Here he goes. An admirable effort, my learned friend. Still have to figure out why she was knocked out. What's this now? And why they had to fire 2 bullets. So they would have had to use Mr. Windibank's gun as well. He's laughing. You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zieks. I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pedophagy here. What? Exactly. The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly, credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failings? I say, Lord Van Zieks, might be an idea to explain this ballet conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground, huh? The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Boom, he throws it. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. Yep, classic scene from Clue. Counting bullets. Oh dear! You noticed then. Oh, what is everyone talking about? Counsel. Yes, sir. Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime. 2. 2 bullets. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appeared to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windibank, and the Skulkin Brothers revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these two brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find. Right at the single point, I was heard from the shotgun. Windibank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only one bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Yeah. Something totally different must have generally happened with the Windibank's revolver. And we still don't know how Gina got knocked out. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zieks? But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, no ordinary girl. Despite her younger years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. He has a disc. That disc! We can see whose blood is on the disc. Very good. Yes, that music box disc. Miss Gillard's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windibank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious. Make no mistake, any sympathies for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril. Oh man. Merci. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel. As a grim testament to the defendant's character. Lord Van Zieks, Inspector Gregson, what? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zieks at all. I am unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed, bailiff. Alright. The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. Fantastic. Let's look at this disc, though. Oh, Runo, look! This is blood! Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. Then it's my time to shine again. Thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, let's deal with that disc, Bruno. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash! Let's see it change color. What color? Green. We've seen green already. Oh, a lovely bright shade again. Wait, that color. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? Yeah, isn't that the one that's on the calendar that we assume is Sholmes's? Cool. For McGilded. That's the man you defended in court a couple months ago, isn't it, Runo? Yes, or rather mistakenly defended. Wonder what his name is doing on the back of this disc. That's a question I'd love to know the answer to myself. Alright, now we're gonna go look for the green one. Yep, it is the calendar, so now we have 2 of those. And it's presumably Sholmes's, right? Because Mr. Windibank's is blue. There is nothing more to add. Alright, great. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. We're gonna have to do another summation examination, aren't we? I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, for all of 5 minutes. Oh dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes, Runo. Oh, who is this? Is this gonna be Gregson? Wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about it in a bit of fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden... The answer is bally obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
There we go.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Man, they're so fickle. Fickle, fickle, fickle jury. We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. Ah, how dare he use it against us. Don't worry, Iris, I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank, that's beyond any doubt. Very well. We'll proceed with a second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, as you and the other jurors ready. Geared up squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. Alright. We are going to stop here today. Much earlier than usual, but this is another good stopping point, because summation examinations, they take a good bit of time. So next time, we're going to plow through the summation examination and perhaps get even more facts in this case. We'll see. Oh man, very early ending today, but that's okay. Thank you all so much for hanging out. You're awesome, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're great. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of others, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.